Let's chat about all the people that could be involved in the art. We have audiences who look at the art, patrons, artists. Who else? Do you have other ideas? Am I missing any of the people who's involved in this business? Remind me if you come up with some other uh, people, some other names. But before we get into this, I want to invite you to uh, imagine a story that could unfold in any uh, time. A family, right, from a major city, they are not officially rulers. They don't have the power. They don't have the authority. They started very humble, but they managed to become very successful bankers and therefore amassed a lot of money. Then, right, they want to kick it up a notch. They want to elevate in their status, so they in their power. So they invite a brilliant sculptor to make a statue of a young biblical hero, a boy who defeats a giant. Heroic story, right? And then at first, this sounds like a religious subject, right? Because it's right out of the biblical, the Bible. A story, so a beautiful sculpture, a talented artist, so everything works perfectly, right? Uh, but no, it's not as simple as that. Because if we separate this case into different parties, we have the patron. The statue is not only for decoration for the patron, it is a political image. There's some kind of intended audience. It's not totally religious. Religion is just the hook. The family wants to present itself as a refined, learned, pious, and powerful, right? I'm a pious believer of Christianity, but at the same time, I want to show this image. And that statue represents the image of my family, right? A very balanced image. I'm not openly tyrannical. I'm not trying to usurp the official ruler, but also I'm very powerful in the city. As you can see on this young hero, the statue of the young hero becomes a symbol, right? Small but victorious because this little boy defeated the hero and becomes the hero of Israel. And then very graceful but dangerous, innocent but politically charged, right? Very balanced image that the patron to have it produced and to have it shown at the courtyard so that the public, whenever they pass by, right, the passerbys, they would see a statue like this, very unique one. We're gonna get into that. Okay, so for the artist too, this is an opportunity because this is a big, huge project, right? He receive money definitely, right? Access and prestige and freedom to this experiment because this statue is pretty creative. I'm gonna tell you why later. He's not working in a vacuum. His creativity is shaped by the patron's space, taste, political ambition, and social needs. So connected, right? The artist's ambition as well and the patron's ambition, they have a common ground that they share. So they together they work on this statue to produce this sculpture. And the understanding, the meaning of this sculpture is really steeped, right? It's steeped it's in this kind of relation between the patron and the artist. And the relation doesn't end there because we also have the audience, or more specifically, the intended audience. I want this is A, B, C to look at it. Yeah, C, D, E, F, G. I don't care if they care about this artwork or not. I just want this specific group of people to see my artwork, right? These are the intended audience, and the meaning of it, right? Also of the artwork also depends on who look at it, right? Is this sculpture for the elite class, for the court, for the royal rulers, for their friends only, since it's enclosed in a courtyard? Or is it for the public to view, to look at it, to be in awe in front of it? And through the money, the marriage, favors, taste, political intelligence, all these things of kind of like careful manipulation and management, this family have become one of the most powerful families in the city. Which family is this, right? If you can guess, which city is this? Does it ring a bell of something you've came across before? But regardless of the family, right, the family name, the question that we get out from this story is who made this artwork? Is it just the artists, or is it the patron who pays the artist to make this artwork? Who makes this artwork, right? Because I'm not the one who's hands-on on the artwork, but I am the one who's doing the commanding, who's listing it in all the details in the contract, asking the artist, you should do this, do that, have that, right? Be very specific, right? Because the artist works for me. Am I the one, right? If I'm the patron, is the patron the one who made the artwork? Or is it the audience? Because they are the one who's looking at it. So they generate their own meaning, right? Usually no one tells them directly, oh, this is the meaning of the artwork, right? It's the audience or different groups of audience collectively generate a meaning or the value of the artwork, right? Who made the artwork? Who made the artwork? This is one of the questions we try to ponder all together. The slides for you to something for you to think about. Then we'll get straight into that story, that imagined story. In fact, that imagined story is not so imagined because it's the Medici family, right? It's the sculpture we're talking about is the first nude statue ever produced since the end of the antiquity, since ancient Greek and Rome. This is first because in ancient Greek and Rome, if you go to museums, you see a lot of the nude bodies of male bodies, right? But that in the medieval period, the nudity was kind of like even censored, right? It all of a sudden disappear, and then it's this statue that calls back this presentation of nudity, right? Or the admiration of uh, the physique of human body. And it's the Medici family who commissioned Donatello, one of the very household name, uh, sought after artists in Florence, the city of Florence in Italy, in the 15th century, to make a statue that would represent their family, the glory of their family, so that they can put in their courtyard. And then the courtyard is facing the main street. So people who pass by, for sure, right? Whoever you are, you will pass by a statue like this, very unique in the contemporaries' eyes, because this is the first freestanding nude statue since antiquity. They've never seen this before, to put it in plain words. And this is a biblical story of a youthful boy, a youth who defeated the giant, who's bigger, more powerful, right, as it appears, than him, but with wit. This boy is able to defeat the giant Goliath and protect the whole Israeli tribe, the whole country. And this heroic boy with the sling, right? With the sling, just throw the rocks to the Goliath and hit his head, and the Goliath fell, and then he uses the sword to slay the Goliath. That's how the story goes. And he becomes, well, with his wit, he becomes a hero of the people of Israel. Now, the Medici family, humble beginning as they are, they sourced this story from the Bible and make it into the statue, put it in the courtyard. They try to utilize the subject matter, they try to utilize the scale and material, the creativity of the artists, the iconography, right? Because the David defeating Goliath, what a famous story, right? That everyone knows, even though most of the citizens in Florence, well, and the entire Europe are illiterate, but they can read visuals, right? They can read images. They know the stories. Who made this artwork? The Medici family, Donatello, or the people walking by their courtyard every day? And this is their courtyard. Looking in, this is what you would see. You would pass by in front of this corridor, and you see the statue is placed in the museum here, right? In a different museum, not in the Palazzo Medici, which is their family, their residence of the Medici, right? Passing by somewhere of these doors, they can have a peek of that statue. And that is right. This is imagined photograph, right? To just put this statue of Donatello's David back in the courtyard, it would look something like this. If you pass by that street, well, 500 years ago, during the Renaissance time, this is what you would see in the courtyard. And everything of this case is intended. Nothing is coincident. The Medici family, with their humble beginning, they are really uh, wanted to gain authority and gain power and be recognized in the city. And in fact, a lot of architectures, artwork, statues, or paintings were related to Medici. Medici family is actually the biggest patron in Florence, as well as in entire Italy at the time during the Renaissance, during early Renaissance. They use artworks. The Medici family, if you go to Uffizi Museum in Italy today, uh, you get a more concrete idea of what I'm saying right now. But it's the Medici family who used artworks. Through artworks, they slowly ascend in the power of the city to a point that literally they control the entire city, from government to the cityscape to how the city should look like to many of the properties. That's how powerful they become at the apex. And this David, right? This statue right here, the first nude freestanding nude David is, see, this is Goliath being stepped on by David because it's just been slayed, beheaded, right? Uh, this David is just a microcosm of this whole political campaign by the Medici family. Back to our topic. patron, artist, audience. How the three tie together to construct the meaning or the meaningfulness of an artwork. This is a painting of the many of the famous artists at the time during Renaissance, during Medici's time. We have Giotto, we have different, and Donatello is in the middle, right? So, is it the Medici family who helped Donatello to ascend in his fame, in his popularity, or is it Donatello who helps the Medici family to get recognized, to curate a certain image for the public, for Italy, for Florence, the city of Florence?